Welcome to the Beyond Belief series, where we're taking a soulful look at the Bible. Here we explore our divine existence and get real about the conversations we were once afraid to have. This is esoteric insight, truth-telling, and honest self-investigation. We're sharing how old fear-based stories have sparked an empowered shift in our awareness. It's going to be fun, y'all. It's live. It's safe to be here because we are definitely going beyond belief. You can find us live on YouTube Sundays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Be sure to follow the show, subscribe to the channel, and join the conversation. Leave us a kind rating or a comment if this speaks to your soul. All right, family, let's get into it. Welcome to the show. Hello, and welcome to the Beyond Belief series. Welcome back, everyone. How you doing, Da'vette?
I'm well. How are you? I'm just
Good.
coming out
Happy
of the
Mother's Day
mountains.
to you.
Thank you. Happy
Yes.
Mother's Day to you.
Yes. I want to honor our mothers, the mothers in our lives today, the ones
Yes.
who raised us, the one who held us and loved us through our becoming. We honor the mothering energies in all forms today, our aunties, our grandmothers, the community caretakers, the birth givers, and the spirit holders. And above all, we want to thank you, Mother Earth, for holding us through it all. So, yes, thank you so much. Mother's Day is really special, but Mother's Day is every day. Every day I wake up, I just think I am to honor myself and any mother because of the things just the task that we have at hand. So, deep bow to all of the mothers. Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. All of the mothers.
Mhm.
And especially to all of those mothers who've gone over and beyond the call of duty. I really do, hats off to them, because whether you're doing it with a partner or you're doing it alone, parenting is just it's not an easy job.
Right.
And so when you do it and you go over and beyond, hey, hats off to you. I hope that you have a great Mother's Day. I'm sorry, my glasses are like crooked, and
That's
can we just
okay.
be
It's
real?
our day. Yes. We're going to
Just be
always keep it
real.
100.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? This kind of parlays into what we are talking about today. You wanted to tackle 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. And
Yeah.
this is a really, I'm glad that you chose this, because this scripture is very important for us to take a look at today.
Well,
This
okay. Why do you think it's very important for us to look at today? What's your thoughts behind that statement?
Right. Well, the scripture says that God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. And so that's so important, because fear is a psychological barrier. Just think, fear puts us in the consciousness of separation, or the awareness of, like, we're in the illusion that we're separated from our oneness. And this is the reason, fear comes up. So it's important to discuss today as we ascend, as we expand our awareness and our consciousness. And this is the reason why we're here, for us to understand what fear is and why it's existing, and how we can overcome fear.
Yeah.
It's important to overcome fear.
Yeah. I think with this verse, like, you can look at it head on. It's important for us to overcome fear. And then, of course, I always have to look at things esoterically, because it's just a roadmap in for me. And, I think your way is also how you just addressed it, was also an inward look of looking at how you are thinking, or how you are perceiving things in a fearful way or a non-fearful way. But this verse of scripture is one of those alchemic kinds of scriptures. It has so much meaning, and it just overlays in so many different ways, that this particular scripture. I like it in the esoteric way of looking at it, because I think in the esoteric way of looking at it, it is broken up into two sections. And so let's take the verse, and I had to pull it up on my computer. So it says, this is 2 Timothy 1:7. The verse says that the Spirit of God for God did not give us the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and of sound mind. And so head on, that just tells us what we have a right to. We have a right to love, power, and sound mind, but each one of those things means something.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And yes, I
Fear.
agree.
Fear means something, So if we look at it as the scripture telling us or helping us, directing us to what we have a right to, the end of it, looking at the end of the verse first, esoterically, we have a right to, this is a birthright. You have a birthright to peace. You have a birthright to love and of a sound mind. You have this is your birthright. This is what you don't have a birthright to. Fear.
Right, which is rooted in separation.
Right.
Like, it's rooted in separate consciousness.
A separate consciousness, or a thinking that there's a separate consciousness, because there's never a time that
exactly.
yeah. And so go ahead.
No, I was going to say that fear, it kind of reminds us that we're out of alignment in terms of our vibration, right, with our higher self. That's what if I'm afraid, then I'm out of alignment with the higher aspect of me.
Absolutely.
Because there's no fear in that aspect. Okay.
There's no fear in that aspect. And so the fear is speaking to the lower energies in us.
Yeah.
And conquering those lower energies, you do it by this roadmap. And the roadmap, is the power. And power is the oneness of who you are with God. And then if you look at love, is the consciousness of God is nothing but love. And the sound mind is also knowing that all of these things you have a right to, and you exist within them, and they exist within you. Yes. It's showing us, like, okay, here is fear, but here are the things that you have a right to, and those things will always envelop the fear. Because love shines the light into darkness.
Yes.
There is that aspect. It's also the cracking of the soul, the awakening of the soul. That your soul awakens and there's no fear there. Your soul awakens and you remember that you were not put here by yourself, and that everything works out for your highest good. And this is what you have a right to. You have a right to, there's a birthright for you to take a deep breath and exist and have a sound mind. And you have this.
Yes. That we're entitled to this. We're entitled to a sound mind. We're entitled to live without fear. We're entitled to live within our divine will and our inner authority. We're entitled to live in love. We're entitled to live, with the power that we have. So yeah, I get that. I hope that the audience understands that you have the power. It is and it is your birthright to live with a sound mind, to live with empowered authority. Right. Not like your power is not, this type of power is sacred power. It's not power and control, you having control over someone, but it is more your divine will and your inner authority of your I am essence.
It is what, your I am
that
essence.
Power is.
Yes. And
great I am.
It is. And the I am that lives in you can conquer all things. There is no fear in the I am that lives in you. Fear comes to show us the polarity. Fear is a teacher. Fear has a teaching component. It helps sometimes to define where our energy needs to be cleaned up. So there is there's a working component to fear that helps us to, oh, that didn't feel very, that doesn't feel like my divine oneness, that felt like I was out of line with something. What was that thing that came up in me that made me fearful? Okay, so now I have a roadmap to look inward and see exactly where I need to clean that stuff up at, or what I need to address, or someone else's fear that I have adapted as what is the word I'm looking for? Like what is the word?
What are you
Limitation.
What are you searching for?
Like a limitation. What this person's limitation of me, I have accepted it as my own. And sometimes fear comes to show us those moments where, hey, that's not even your fear. That was a fear of your mom because she had never flown before. There's no reason for you to have that fear. And
Yes.
when you can look at it, when you can sit fear down and say, hey, fear.
Yes.
Why are you here? And what are you here to teach me about my path? What is it that I need to be aligned with? Because I cannot be aligned with fear. So fear, come help me.
Yes.
That's that alchemaic way of looking at fear and being able to see that verse in two different ways. Fear is not what I have a birthright to. Love, power, and sound mind is what I have a birthright to. It's the flashlight in which I'm going to shine into my fear, and I am going to use my fear as a teaching tool.
Yes, this is what I was just talking about. So funny we're having this conversation. I was just talking to a sister friend who's visiting here with me, and we're celebrating each other. And I'm like, we have to pay attention to the triple O, the triple O's. Observe your fear. Like when you are observing it, you're like you just talked about, like, okay, so, okay, I see you. Fear's there. I see the fear is there. I know it's there. This fear prevents me from doing X, Y, and Z. So you have to observe it. And then you gotta own it, family. You have to own your fear. It is yours. It belongs to you. Don't just observe it, but you own it and then overcome it, transmute it. That alchemical process you're just talking about. Yes. Then you transmute it. And if you don't know how to transmute it, then stick around, listen to us, hang out with us, join our community.
Yeah.
And we have plenty of spiritual tools to help you to overcome fear, because we're doing it ourselves. So yeah, that's like a triple threat.
Yeah.
Observe it, own it, overcome it. That's just what you were talking about. And I really like that.
I like that. I like that. The triple O's. Own it.
Yeah. Observe it, own it, and overcome it. Yeah, because it's like you looking down there like, oh, I see you. I see fear. Because every time you get ready to do something, or you want to use your voice, or you want to come from behind a shadow, it comes up. That fear comes up.
Yeah.
So it's like you're looking at it and it prevents you from taking that next step. So you're observing it, but now you got to own it and say, it's mine. It belongs to me. And so, being honest about what your fears are, because I think sometimes, at least, I have hidden my fears a lot, So I think that we hidden, and I didn't want to own it, because something about saying you're afraid is something about being, that makes you vulnerable, right? And vulnerable is the new flex to me. Being vulnerable is the new flex. You shouldn't be I don't want to be sitting up here with all of this extra baggage and all of these types of barriers, and I don't want to be vulnerable. I hurt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think embarrassment keeps us a lot from facing our for real whatever we're going through. And embarrassment is tied straight to fear. Like embarrassment, fear, it's just right there. A little leaven, even if it's just a little leaven, leavens the whole loaf. A little fear permeates fear everywhere. Like you can't.
I don't know. You kind of going in and out with your
You were too.
Am I?
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
So what I was saying was that, just a little fear produces a lot of leaven. There's no way that you can look at where this small amount of fear came from and pinpoint it and say, this is where it is now. It permeates in every aspect of our lives. And so it's really important to see where the fear is, what the fear is trying to teach you so that you can then get out of the loop of fear.
This loop.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get caught up in the loop. Yes,
Oh,
yes,
yes.
and yes.
I know I have gotten caught up in years of loops. Shucks. Really. Shit. To be honest, you keep recycling the
Like,
same damn man and tell me
right, and then
you keep recycling the same boss. And you're like, what in the world? Why not? I just left this
yeah,
job and came over here and I just knew that this was it. But it's the little fear that you keep having about whatever it is, the thing that fear is trying to show you. And you really do have to sit fear down and say, listen, fear. Now, enough of this. I need you to
yes,
tell me what you're trying to teach me in this situation so that I can learn the lesson and understand my power, my love, and my sound mind. And just
yes,
sitting fear down, like I tell you, fear shows up in my body, Deb, in my stomach. That's the first place it shows up. Like,
yeah. I
and I
understand that.
and I have to say to fear, hey, fear, I see you. I observe you in my body. And what are you really trying to say to me? What are you really wanting me to address about this situation that I've never addressed so that I can get out of that loop? So
It's
I
that
think,
false illusion too that I was just identifying with when you said that it shows up in your stomach, and a lot of the
mhm,
times, of course, fear showed up in my stomach that way, and I really was trying to put a barrier between me and the fear. So I
mhm,
was not leaning into it. I wanted to dismiss it, avoid it. Yeah, run away from it like I don't want to do that, but I don't do that now. Like you, I sit with it
yeah.
because then I start to question myself and say, okay, so if I'm fearful, what do I believe to be true to make me afraid? So I could believe, so for instance, I could
Mhm,
say, all right, I don't want to start the podcast because I'm afraid that I won't have the right words to say, or I'm
mhm,
afraid that someone won't listen to me. Like, so what I'm saying is not important, but
right.
there's no empirical data that says that that's true. So that is an illusion. You're feeling something that is not true, and so this conversation is for us to stop and take a step back. And if you
Mhm.
are feeling fear, ask yourself, what do I believe to be true to make me afraid? And if there's no
Yeah, what
facts,
do I
no
believe
data to
about
support that,
myself?
then yes, then drop it. You shouldn't be afraid. There's no data that says what you believe is true is going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
And but what if people don't listen to your content? Someone will. You're listening to your content.
You start listening to
You're the
your
someone.
content. Listen, I teach me all the time. When I'm teaching, I'm
Yes.
learning. And when I am learning, I am teaching. I
Yes.
I listen at myself all the time. Now, for me, my life story helped me to hear my voice pretty early. Being a channel, you get to identify your voice really early, and I started channeling at 7, and so
Hmm.
there was some elemental fear that I had to overcome real
Yes.
early
I
on
can imagine. Yeah.
because people don't believe the little 7-year-old girl that sees and hears these things in her room. No, there's no monster. You're right. It isn't. This person isn't a monster. Absolutely. This is my bonus dad, and he's telling me that I need to go get my license. There's no scary in it, whatever it was, whenever I was training and to hear my voice. So hearing my voice helped me not to be afraid to hear my voice, to give my voice, to use my voice in some areas. But in other areas, I had a huge problem using my voice. And in those areas, that's where fear showed up to show me that, okay, well, you got it over here, but this is the little leaven over here. And this is where you really need to work. So
Hmm.
publicly, I could own my words, but in my relationships, I couldn't, so the
Right.
fear showed up there. Finally, when I asked fear, what are you trying to tell me about myself through this way of showing me, that I got some real answers.
Hmm.
Deb, my project is the Me in Me project. I talk about
Yes.
this all the time with you. And that fear, some fears helped me to see me in me, and that I was big enough, strong enough, more sound. I had a light that I could flash and I could get through this. And I have, just as all of us have had to get through some really rough times. Those times they show you exactly who you are, you know?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I think by not making fear your best friend, but at least keeping him as a close associate so that so that you can see yourself and not to address everything such from a fearful punishment standpoint. We've been conditioned to see fear as so many different things. I reverence you, but that if I reverence you and I don't agree with you and I only do it just to appease you, I'm living in fear.
Exactly.
There's these conditionings that we have of fear, and the confusion behind it helps us keeps us in more fear. Fear produces fear. Fear produces something for you to fear for. Fear produces something else for you to fear. That's what magnifying, or that is just the law of attraction.
I love that. Yeah. Fear produces more things to fear.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're afraid, then it's like you're gonna get caught in that loop of being afraid and then
And then it shows
manifesting more
up.
things that to be
It
afraid.
continues to show up so that you can confirm what you believe.
So what do you think a teachable moment is? So we talked about like the esoteric lens of power. What does that mean to you? I was saying it's the great I am. We talked about it being the I am presence. What
Yeah.
about the I am presence in you? So what about
It's also your inherent strength. It's also that
yes,
your
absolutely.
inherent strength, your potential within is what power
Yes.
is. It's your ability to direct what you want.
Yes, to speak truth, stand
Just
firm, be in alignment with your one self. So yes,
absolutely.
I love that. Okay, so then moving on to love, then
That's your
in
divine
terms of
consciousness.
love, that is all right. So metaphysically speaking, love is not like an emotional attachment, but is your highest frequency of consciousness.
It is your highest frequency of consciousness. It's unity with your creator. That's all, it is. It is the law of oneness. That's what love is. Because love could never outlove itself. Love could never not love itself. Love could never, leave itself. Love can never be any of those things exactly what love is. And even our own Bible says God is love. So that means that he can never do anything that is outside of that pattern, that consciousness. That's all he is. It's love. The power, we get to choose what we do with it.
So this unconditional, fearless love that is God, it's important to understand that the love from source is unconditional. And there were a lot of conditions to me placed on in the church. I felt like that were placed on me that I was taught. I felt like it didn't feel that God's love was unconditional. It wasn't until I left the church that I felt that unconditional love or I really knew I could connect with it. But it was, to me, fear-based love. That's the kind of love that I had for God. So it's the kind of love that I had for myself. All of this comes full circle because I was loving God through fear.
Yes.
Fear of what would happen to me if I continue to do all the things,
You sounding a little like Job, aren't you?
Exactly.
You're
I
having a little
love Job.
Joby. Your little
Yes.
Joby moments, huh?
Yes. I'm like, exactly. And I'm like, this is not the type of love. We're talking about love that is unconditional and fearless. And see, if you love God through fear, this is how you love yourself. That's why fear shows up. But when you love God fearlessly, you love yourself to me fearlessly, with no conditions on it. It doesn't matter if I make a mistake tomorrow and I trip up tomorrow. I'm still going to love me the same way.
Right.
This is it. No conditions, right? For yourself.
None.
Put
No
conditions on
conditions
yourself.
for yourself. Stop putting limits on yourself. Now, but if you
Yeah.
want to put a limit on yourself, it's fine.
Yeah, feel free. Feel
Because
free, right?
because that limit is also a roadmap. That it's okay. You know what I want, Deb, for everybody? And sorry, y'all, I just had it. Lord Jesus. The throws are
Yes,
being
the hot
50.
flashes are weird. Yes, the hot flashes are real.
And I just love
This
that we
is
can be so honest and open here. But
This
yes,
is the Fear to Freedom Project. If you are new to this channel, welcome to the channel. Thank you for coming. You are going to get raw, unadulterated content here that is going to be just real. It's going to resonate with you. And if you are a returning champion, thank you for coming. Subscribe to the channel. Leave us a beautiful comment. Let us know how much you love us, how much you love this content, how much you are overcoming fear, and you are
yes,
stepping into your divine power. You are stepping into your divine love and your divine sound mind. Leave us a comment and let us know about that. We
I'm
want to
glad you
hear
said
it.
sound mind. So let's go back into this esoteric teaching of sound mind, because sound
Okay.
mind simply means, and I know that we're at our time, but sound mind simply represents, and we'll pick a lot of this up next week, represents the awareness and understanding and trusting your wisdom and knowing you are never alone. That's what sound mind means esoterically. It's all about trusting your own voice. Man, it is so
Yes.
important that you have your self-esteem here. And let me tell you why we understand that to be true. Every commercial is trying to sell you something about your own self-esteem. They want your self-esteem to represent their product because they sell it to you through fear.
Don't fall for the okie doke, family.
Listen, if you get a wrinkle here, you got to buy a cream for this one. If you get a pimple, it's just and I understand why it is that way for conditioning purposes. But when you start to unplug from the matrix, I call myself an unplugger. Once I became unplugged, from some of these
Yes.
things, you began to really want to walk in that power, really want to walk in that strength. And the soundness of that. Like, come on.
Yes.
Why am I going to believe that God is going to continue to do certain things to me just because
Yeah,
fear?
exactly. Because I chose, I an experience, that may not have been palpable or pleasing to someone else. It doesn't matter. So,
Or because I'm
I
gay?
look at exactly. I look at, or because I've had two divorces.
Or because I'm a single mom?
Yes, yes. We place these conditionings on ourselves. And a sound mind to me means that my mind has been renewed. That's how I feel now, that
Mm-hmm.
my mind is free of distortions. My mind is free of doubt. I don't have to believe all of the things that were placed upon me anymore. And so that renewed mind that's free of all of those things
Mm-hmm.
represents the soundness of my mind
Mm-hmm.
now. So I like that. I like that the way that I'm thinking is free of distortion and division.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Free of distortion and division. I mean,
Yes.
you start to put polarity in its place.
Place.
My daughter
Yes.
said something years ago, and she was in high school. She says, Mom, I understand duality. And that's why you are having a problem, because you don't understand it. And I'm like, daggone. But when you start to put it in its place and respect it for what it is, simple as that.
I agree.
Once you can start doing that, and you can start reclaiming your power. As Auntie says, I'm reclaiming my time.
Yes, absolutely.
You know?
It feels good to have a sound mind.
Mm-hmm.
It
It
feels
does.
good to be intuitive and to have clarity.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like that. I celebrate my sound mind today.
Celebrate my sound mind. Let's make that a mantra. I mean, let's just make that, something that we say. I celebrate my sound mind. I
I celebrate
celebrate my
my
sound
sound
mind.
mind.
What we're telling our
Yes.
subconscious is that, hey, give us more experiences so that our sound mind can be solidified. The we can have this awareness. We're asking for these delicious experiences that are more palpable. When we can control our words, our energy, our sound mind. Yeah. So I like that. Let's do that. Let's say that.
Well, I remember reading the 23rd Psalm, and in the 23rd Psalm, who was talking? Paul, John, I don't know. But
No,
anyway,
Dave.
whoever was saying that, David. And David was so sure that of God's, like that God was going to be there for him, he was just so sure, like, grace and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Like, and I remember going back to, like, how is he so sure in this chapter that God is going to do all of these things? And so I went back to chapter 22. And it's just to get an understanding about where David was. And I saw the shift where, in David's assurity and assurance of God, I felt that shift. And then, he was just like, from wondering or asking or doubting to, yeah, I know God is going to do it. And so I want to go to verse 6. Verse 6. So 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 6.
Okay, go ahead and read it.
Not 7.
You're
Okay.
breaking up. I mean, it's so.
Yeah, it's no, yeah, we're both, it's happening. So
I'm sorry, baby.
it says, stir up the gift of God which is in you. So metaphysically, it says that this is a call to activate dormant spiritual gifts. Stir up the gift that's in you.
Metaphysically, it means to stir up your awakening. You're awakening.
You're awakening your
consciousness is awakening. That's really what you're saying. And remember now,
Yes.
David is you. And who does David represent? The Christ consciousness. And what does the Christ consciousness represent? Your divine oneness. Just like if we went back over to Timothy, Paul wrote the
this
book of
was
Timothy.
verse. Yes, this was Paul saying, stir up the gifts,
And
not David.
And okay, so Paul absolutely represents your divine self, your divine spirit. He's the guide that leads you inward. What he's doing to Timothy with this letter, because it's a letter that he's writing to Timothy, and what he is doing what he's doing in that letter is just giving his consciousness the opportunity to awaken into Christ and understand that, hey, when you awaken into Christ, there are these things that you are inherently needing to remember. They are yours. It's called power, it's called love, and it's called sound mind. Remember those things, because you don't have this other spirit, which is fear. You are awakening to fear. You are awakening to the powerlessness, no power of fear. You have the power. And the power comes when you start to awaken your sound mind, when you start to awaken your love, when you start to awaken your power. And all of those things are, aspects of you. Timothy is an aspect of you, and it's the aspect of you that's turning inward. Yeah.
So I wanted to, before we get out of here, I wanted to, leave a question with the audience. Where has fear been running the show in your life? Think about it. Where has fear been running the show in your life, and how can you return to love and divine power and a sound mind? Where can you do that?
Where can you awaken it?
Yes.
It's all about remembering. Deb and I are here to help each other remember who we were in our oneness. We're here to help you remember who you were in your oneness. This is not a trip that you took alone. You didn't take this trip alone. You're not alone. Not only do you have the connection of the human, but you have the connection of the divine, and the divine in you did not leave its place and leave you in another place. Yeah.
That's true. Thank God for that. We are not left here.
We're not left here.
This is the joy for me. Yes, this is the joy for me. Well, this was a good conversation today. I always love having conversations with you and bringing more awareness to our community, to ourselves, and honoring Jean Carson, wherever you are in the world. To my mother, I love you. You are such an angel beneath my wings. You have no idea. You have planted seeds in me that are prepared me for this moment right here. So I honor you, Jean Carson. I love you. Happy Mother's Day to you. And to you too, Miss Olivia.
Yes, I honor my mom, Olivia. She is an awesome woman, and I could not do anything without her. I really, when we can look at our moms and see the patterns that they have laid down, things that we need to work on, things that we need to continue as legacy, it's a beautiful thing. So I'm really thankful for my mother. And to you, Miss Deborah, you are an
Yes, you
awesome
too,
woman.
Da'vette. Thank you. Same to you,
Awesome
sister.
mother.
I love you.
Yes. And
Yeah,
I love
I
my niece.
appreciate
She texted me today. I said, I miss
you. She did.
you. Yes. I love her.
Yes, yes, she's a sweetie pie.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
listen, everybody, we love you. Thank you so much for joining us this week on our episode of Beyond Belief. I hope that something that we said in this conversation stirred your soul and brought you closer to your oneness,
Yes.
who you really are. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and follow us. Listen to us. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. And you can share this amazing channel with someone that you love. But until next time, same place, same time, we will be here. Stay curious, stay conscious, and stay in love with yourself. All right. Peace and love.
Namaste.
Namaste.